Right then, welcome back to another Call of Duty vid. What do you mean you hate Call of Duty? No, it's not for everyone, of course it isn't, but then again, what is? We all like different things, don't we? But yeah, I've gone back to it lately for the first time in a couple of months, and I'm actually quite enjoying it again. Although, that really annoys me. What a start that is. You go through it, or you're trying to get through a doorway, and some little bugger gets there first. And honestly, those extra, kind of couple of seconds can really be pivotal in you having a good start or not. Like, for example, that. That probably wouldn't have happened if that moron, all that, had got in my way at the start, but it's only a game. It doesn't really matter. You get all these people who are just absolutely obsessed with their kill-to-death ratio. And if they do bad, they hate it, and it's unbelievable. And then you hear them in the headsets, squawking. It's really childish, but you've got to laugh. But anyway, we're playing on a map called Hijacked. I don't actually know who the hijackers are. Is it me and my team, or is it the people we're fighting against? That's not made clear, but what is obvious is you're just going to kill everyone you see. And it's kill confirmed, so basically pick up all the tags. The gold tags are left behind when you kill an enemy, and the red tags that are left behind, as there's one in front of me there, and one behind me now, they're left when we die, when our soldiers, people on our team. And the idea is just to pick them all up, before the opposition do, of course. First one to 100 wins the game, and if no one's got to 100, then it's just the first to... Oh, sorry, whoever's got the most amount by the time the timer runs out. Pretty simple stuff, really. And this is on hardcore mode as well, and that's pretty much all I do these days. You run the risk of people getting you easily, but similarly, you can kill them much easier on hardcore, because usually, more often than not, it's kind of a one-hit kill. So, yeah, but that's not for everyone, of course. On a standard mode, you can unload pretty much a good half a clip into someone before you polish them off. You can't do that on hardcore. And I just prefer this mode because it's a little bit more, dare I say, realistic, even though obviously I've got no idea what a real-life war situation's like. But it just seems more realistic anyway. Now, for anyone who's interested, I'll tell you what kind of setup I use. I can't remember what you call a weapon, which is not the greatest start to inform you what I use. But in terms of little perks, then I use the scavenger. Now, basically what that is, it resupplies your ammunition once you kill an enemy. There's that little bag, if you like, left. And if you walk over it, then there you see it on the screen there. And if you walk over it, you get more ammunition and more everything else. Now, this is particularly handy for me because I always use a shock charge, which you may have seen there on the screen. It gives you an indication someone is in the vicinity, so you can take a bit of a hiding place in the corner and wait for them. Now, you only get supplied with one shock charge, but if you're using scavenger, every time you kill an enemy and pick up that little bag, then you can essentially get an endless resupply of the shock charges, which is really handy, especially if you're gonna try and nail down a particular part of the map, which is what I'm doing here. Very strategic, by the way, not camping, just strategically camping, if anything. So I use the orbital VSAT, which is those little red things you can see on the map. That gives the direction that the enemy's travelling in, so again, that really helps. And it doesn't matter who it is or what perks they've got, everybody on the enemy team will show up on the orbital VSAT, which is really handy. The second one I just used a second ago was the EMP systems, and that kind of detonates the electronics, if you like, so all the infrareds disappear for the enemy, so all their screens are a little bit hazy. Any electronics that they've got won't work, so that really benefits our team because they don't know where we are. They can't see anything. So that's that. And then the last one I just used, was that a swarm? Was it a warthog? I can't quite remember. But that was my last. You're only allowed 3 kill streaks. That was the last one that I selected, and that's basically several. I don't know how many. I think it's maybe 4 or 5 kind of swarms back and forth, or flights back and forth, whatever it is. And it basically kills anyone, anybody, even your own teammates who are in that area at that time. So they're all 3 pretty high-end perks, but these days I tend to get pretty good scores. So as a result of that, I don't tend to bother with things like, the perk of like UAV or a hunter killer, the RC car. They're very low-end, you only need maybe a couple of kills to get those. So to me it's a bit of a waste. I know more often than not I'm going to start a game, with maybe 5, 6, 7 kills. So to use it up, the hunter killer things, it's a waste of time. So I always try these days and go for the higher kills. But there's no guarantee, of course. You can have a shocker. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I have an absolute nightmare. I don't tend to quit games. I mean, that is a bit, bit of a bad sport, isn't it? But yeah, I just think it's practice makes perfect. It's like life. The more you do something, the better at it you get. and I can have several really good games in a row, but then sometimes, such is life, I'll come across someone who really is good, and you get absolutely caned. But more often than not, I can hold my own, and I find myself enjoying the game a lot more as a result. And especially playing with friends, I've always said this, if you're playing with friends, even on YouTube, still friends I guess, aren't we? Then it makes your gaming experience that bit more enjoyable, because you're not really raging, you're not ranting as such, you don't take it personally. But when it's randoms, then for some reason you just feel really competitive. And there's no other game out there like Call of Duty, which makes me rage so much. Not necessarily in terms of being vocal about it, but just inwardly. I can genuinely feel my blood pressure just rising rapidly when I play this game. But like I say, when you play with friends, it's just a little bit more relaxed and chilled out, and I really enjoy that. But, without a doubt, Call of Duty, it's the same old game, we all know this. And it'll be interesting to see what the next incarnation's like, Call of Duty Ghosts. Will I buy it? Well, probably. But, even though I do like Call of Duty, I'm nowhere near as into it as I used to be. Nowhere near. But I do still like doing these gameplays because I do enjoy playing it. And I think that's being fair to myself. It's a true reflection of me as a gamer to put these on my channel. I like playing it, so put it on. Why not? But I know it's not for everyone, and I completely understand why. But anyway. I tell you what though, speaking of Call of Duty Ghosts, it reminds me that E3's coming up, and we're going to see a lot more of the Xbox One, and I've been really, well, not surprised, it's made me laugh, the response that the Xbox One has got. So many people slagging it off, and I understand why. There's a lot of concerns that I have too. The used game thing is a little bit of a worry. How's that going to work, and how much is it going to be? Is there going to be a fee for a used game? If it's, say, £5, $5, does it really matter? But if it's like 20, then that's a problem. Digital content, are we really going to see a lot of people, a lot of publishers, developers these days really go down, or in the future, go down the route of digital content? Look at that, bloody... Speaking of RC cars before, and out of all the places to be, I had to walk into a frigging doorway where that just so happened to be coming out. But again, it's just the way the cookie crumbles, isn't it? But yeah, the Xbox One, I just think really we've got to accept that digital gaming is the way forward. We might not all agree with it, of course, but I just think that's the way it is. Developers want to make money these days, and how better can they make money than by going digital? And I'm not really personally, if I'm honest, opposed digital gaming. My biggest problem with it will be the pricing structure, because if you can pay, say, 10 quid or $10, $15 to download a full game, then I'm quite for that, quite frankly, rather than spending 40 or 50, and especially as it could be like Steam, whereas they could have sales. So, a few months down the line, you could pay 5 quid, or $5 or $10 for a game, as opposed to 15, 20 before that. Why not? That's good. The only problem, of course, well, two problems. One, will these games work in the future, when the servers are taken down? That's a huge problem, and I don't want to understate that. But if they will, then who cares? Does it really matter? I guess to some, we all like that physical aspect, don't we? The physical entity of holding a game. It really shows we've bought something, we've got something to show for our money. But at the same time, how many people in the community these days are cutting back? We're culling, our collections. So on one hand, we're bothered. We want the physical copies, and the next minute we're getting rid of stuff because we don't want physical copies. It's like we can't make our mind up. And I think ultimately it comes down to change. A lot of us are retro gamers, and what happens when people like retro stuff? Well, we become stuck in our ways because we love the past. And I'm no exception. I'm a very nostalgic person. But I just think you've kind of just got to move forward. And if you don't want to move forward, and if you don't want to embrace the future, then don't buy an Xbox One. Don't buy a PlayStation 4. But whatever you do, whatever I do, whatever we think, my voice went a bit kind of Sybil off Downton Abbey there, that was a bit weird. Whatever we think, we're not going to change anything. Digital gaming is going to arrive, and that's just the way it is. And as long as it's implemented well, and that remains to be seen whether they can do that, then I may well climb on board. But at the same time, without completely contradicting myself, I kind of feel these days like I'm at a point where I'm happy with the 360 and the PS3. I've touched upon this before, but gaming these days does everything I ever wanted it to do as a kid. Big open worlds, commentary on football games. You can pretty much do anything. And so, yeah, technology will get even better and you can do even more in the future. But I don't think it's going to bother me as such. I'm happy with where gaming is. So I think I'm going to stick to my Atari ST, my Amstrad maybe, get back into that in the future. And like I say, the 360 and the PS3 I think can be my current gen, or the newest kind of poison, if you like, that I'll take on. But anyway, this video's coming to an end now. I think I go 46 and 14. And speaking of 360s, look at that, 360 turn to get the game-winning kill cam. Brilliant. So yeah, thanks for watching. 46 and 14, can't complain, and we won. And I got the last kill. Brilliant. See you later.